Website, start your SEO campaign with this setup to make your brand, your business grow, scale, and also monetize, whether you're using your email list, whether you're using Pinterest, whether you're using Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are in the world, Alexa, Siri, you can make sure that your website can have a great SEO campaign with this step we're going to talk about that's going to make you the money passively. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining, and always a pleasure to have you in this space because I think every time I have a room, have a call like this, have some type of conversations about these topics, it gets very exciting to see how people are also paying attention to the new things that have been going on. I've been actually, I don't know if this is probably my first room of the week. I'll have to check the replays and see. Yeah, I think it is. You know what? Let's talk about it. Let's see. Today is July 10th. Okay, so let me see. The last room we had here was July 2nd. That was literally before July 4th. So technically, all week, we've not had a room, which I said definitely we need to break the ice and have a room today because I've been busy doing a lot of research, guys. A lot of research. I'm going to tell you about tools today, websites you've never heard of that you're like, huh? Yeah, I'm serious. Let me start off with this just to tell you how serious I am. Have you heard of Roam? ROAM? That's RO.am. Check it out. That's the future of office networking. That's the future of meetings online. That's the future of just connections, theater, anything that you want to call it, like interactions, engagement. That's going to be, it's like the new Zoom. It is the new Zoom. Let me not even say it's like, it is the new Zoom. So check out Roam and the other platforms I'll talk about, like Ethio. These are AI tools, specific tools that you can use that will really put your business at the forefront. And these are new websites I'm talking about that you've not heard of. So your website is also as new as these websites that you're hearing. So that's why I'm kind of giving you that mirror image so that you can see that you can have a new website and your website can look like the website I'm talking about, which can also gain traffic, potential, SEO growth, because I've been doing a lot of research. And one of the things I'm noticing is that people are trying to just get to their destination. That's all they want. They just want to make sure that their product is seen, is heard, and is remembered. Is that too much to ask for? But sometimes you may get different results because not every result you get on your website is the result you're looking for. When people are building websites and creating content, how do you know your website is going to actually work? Like, how do you know? That is a big question because I talked about this before and I'll talk about it again. There's something called Google MUVERA. I'm going to say it again. Google MUVERA, MUVERA. If you've never heard of it, please Google it. As you're listening to this podcast, the We Don't Play podcast, the SEO podcast, the podcast that will help you understand how to get better at business structuring, use these information pieces I'm telling you to do your own research because I'm doing my research. So don't listen to me and stop doing research because you've listened to me. Do your research after listening to me, like I'm listening to other people and also reading from other people and doing my research on things that are happening around the world. So don't stop your research here. I'm just telling you that right now. Google has something called MUVERA, right? What does MUVERA stand for? Multi-vector Retrieval Algorithm, right? And this was just launched last month. So I know you're probably like, huh? What are we talking about? Yes, you probably have never heard of this before, but right in front of you, things are happening. And I don't want you to be caught by surprise because you'll say you didn't know. Now you know. Google MUVERA, right? What is Google MUVERA? MUVERA, right, is another way of saying that Google has turned their website or their algorithm from being a traditional library where you just get results on the search results page. Like, because when you think about websites, they're books. Every website is a book. So there are 1.1 billion websites, meaning there are 1.1 billion books. Why? Because every website has a web page and every book has a page within the book. And for every page, there's a link that drives you to the next page. So when you look at a page and you translate that analogy to an actual book, the link is the highlighter you put in your book, right? Of course, you can click on your book, but when you highlight something, that's something that you're going to emphasize. That's a hypertext. That's why when you look at text, it's black. And when you hypertext, it's blue to differentiate the difference between black and blue. So when you're turning black to blue, you're turning your basic text, your basic information to hyper information that's going to create hyper demand. So you have a new website and you're asking yourself, how am I going to get in front of my audience? How am I going to get in front of my connections? How am I going to get in front of whoever is needing my website? Because there are 1.1 billion websites. So how do I get my website to become part of the websites? But guess what? Out of 1.1 billion websites, 16% of them are active. So now the market is cut by a huge percent, right? So if you're looking at the percentage of creating awareness and then retaining the awareness, because you can create awareness. Hey, the sky is blue, but did you retain it 5 hours later, 5 years later, 5 decades later? That's the goal. So your website is not just a post, a page. It's a profile. It's a person. It's a persona. It's a business. It's value. So when you treat your website like a book that you know when somebody reads, they need to get something out of the book, that's a big deal, especially if you're an author. You don't want to sell a book that you're not proud of. Same way you don't want to produce a song or publish a song or release a song you're not proud of. The same way a podcaster will not want to release an episode they're not proud of. So if you're proud of your work and you're proud of what you're looking at and you don't like your work, then that's a counterintuitive statement because now you're not liking what you see on your website, but you want to make changes to it, but you can't do it. So it's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. One, you have a new website. Is this website even on the web? Is it on a server? Is it on a hosting platform? Is it somewhere where you can actually receive signals? Are you able to connect, right? Have you heard of something called Fathom Analytics? No? Yes? Maybe? Check it out. These are platforms. I'm telling you today, you're going to hear new websites you've never heard of because this is a topic about new websites. So if your website is new, put it in the chat. If your website has been there, but nobody has heard of it, it could be a new website. So your goal is it's a new website because it's new to me. So let me break this down. It's not new to me. It's new to you. Why is it new to you? Because you've never heard of it before. If I put this link in the chat, you've never seen that link before. That's a new link. So when you have a new link, you're sending people to a new page that is on a new website. And even if we take off the word new, you're sending people to a link that takes them to a page that is coming from a website. So when you're looking at the page dimensions, the link dimensions, it's going to start opening up a lot more. So I'm going to show you today how you can start your SEO campaign and really do it in a way that is actually going to drive traffic, awareness, and also retention for your business. Because you don't want to have a website you're paying for every year and you're not making money from that. That's an overhead cost you want to cut. Huge overhead cost you want to cut. So it's up to you to decide, do you want to keep paying $300, $500 a year and not making $500 back in a month? That would have now saved you stress for the rest of the year? Or do you want to just keep posting social media posts trying to see what's going to happen? So we want to break this down today and we're going to do it very well. And thank you for being here, John. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for being here. And I also see y'all in the chat. Tolu, Kumar, Zeno, Branda, Marinko, Rishi, Danny, Claudio, Emmanuel, thanks for being here. John, what's going on?
Well, hello, hello. It took me longer than I thought to remove the mute button. Hey, good morning, Faber. Listen, guys, if there was ever a time to have a good website, a professional website, a website that converts, it is now. It is today. Don't believe the lies that you don't need a website. You have to have a website. Here's what we've been doing, Favor. Here's what we've been doing, right? We are using all the tools and LLMs to figure out. Here's the part that I'm going to say. It's kind of like super simple, but if you're going to start a website or have a website, figure out what's missing. Like a lot of people go, oh, I want to do keyword research, I want to do this, I want that. Well, that's all great, but I want you to shift your thinking on how to get the marketplace out there. And Favor, you and I have gone back and forth on this. A lot of people build the traditional website, front page, service page, contact page, privacy policy, right? And they're like, okay, now blog. But there's so many different facets of the subject matters and the keywords, but you can use the LLMs to figure out the chat GBT, the GBTs, to figure out what's missing. And you build the content, and now you have all this huge authority. Let me break it down to real simplistic. Build out sub service pages or sub product pages that will completely overtake your market. In other words, they're going to fill the gap of what people are looking for. You tell me if I'm like making sense at all here, but we've seen this strategy work really, really well in the local market, where you can use content generated by AI, and you completely understand what the plan is by using this strategy. So in other words, you have a 5-page website, a 10-page website. You're like, okay, what's missing? What's the gaps? When I say gaps, like what content's missing, and then you go and build those pages. Now your website becomes the authority. You're hooking up Google Search Console, and you're actually getting leads, sales, and phone calls. Anyways, that was what I was thinking when I saw the title of the room and what you were saying. So if that makes sense, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, John. It makes 100% sense and it is very helpful. Thank you. Thank you so much for highlighting that because this is a major concern for a lot of people. You came off, off the mic like, yeah, you need a website. Don't let anybody tell you you don't, because a lot of people are thinking because it's Chat GPT now, you don't need a website. Guess what? The websites that ChatGPT is picking up from are websites that you should be on. If you're not on a website or have a website that ChatGPT can pull from, then it's going to be hard for you long term. So ChatGPT is literally where you want to be, because even with Apple, I use an iPhone 16 Pro Max. So when I see Apple Intelligence and I'm asking a question, it says, do you want to use the web or do you want to use Search GPT? It doesn't even say Chat GPT. It says Search GPT. So when I'm looking at it, I'm not just looking at my phone because I can click on it. I'm looking at the mechanics behind it. So this is just the technical science, the flow, and understanding where your website is and asking yourself, am I also on this platform? If you see ChatGPT in your analytics, that's a good sign that you have websites that are taking you through ChatGPT. If you're not there, that's a problem. That's the first signal to know if you're even on ChatGPT by looking at your analytics and asking yourself, do I see ChatGPT or Bing.com anywhere within my results? If I don't, then that means 100% no. So it has to be very specific on that value. And one of the things I've noticed here, especially with new websites, when you have a new website, you're treating it like a baby, which is great. But in the mindset of turning this baby into a king or empire, right? A ruler of a domain, which is an authority on your website, which you can have over the web. But here's the thing, when you have a new website, you feel like this website needs years to grow. It's like a house, or I need a few years for this house value to go up. Guess what? If you bootstrap, if you double down, if you niche, and if you specifically meticulously articulate your content to help the person looking for your product or service from a pre-purchase standpoint through a post-purchase standpoint. Because when you look at pre-purchase, people go to Pinterest, they go to Amazon. When it's post-purchase, people go to YouTube, people go to Google, plumber near me, or I'm looking, my car broke down, how do I fix my tire? People are going to those platforms because psychologically they know that those platforms will help them with solutions. So when you have keywords on your website, that those are the keys to your page. If you have a URL, the URL is literally the key. You know, when you hit the ignition and you're now turning your key to now, start the ignition of the car, that ignition is your keyword. That key, if you don't have that key, you can't start that car. So imagine every link on your website is a key. So if you have a bunch of keys, if you have keys at home and you have 10 keys in your hand as a bundle, just look at those keys again and look at those keys as links, because each of those keys are going to open different doors, and each of those doors are going to have different types of audiences or elements or responses or whatever you want to call it. But they're going to have something that's sentimental and very essential to your need. That's why that key is part of the bunch.
That's good. That's good, Favor. I love that analogy. The keys.
Exactly. Because people hear keywords and they just spam it like it's water. And I'm like, no. Like, this is why I'm very specific and give you analogies. So when you hear SEO again, you don't start feeling like, oh my God, SEO? I don't know. This is not a Home Alone story. This is real life. This is your business. This is your investment. So a lot of businesses wonder why they're not scaling, because they're not really looking at the numbers. Those keywords are important. We have a client. I was talking to her yesterday. She's in Seattle. We're managing her email list. She has over 60,000 contacts. Over 60,000. So we're literally doing a lot of analysis, breaking down SEO. And she's ranking. She's in the charts. Like, she has tens of thousands of followers on Instagram. She's an influencer. So I'm looking at her page yesterday and we're dicing things down. And I was like, hey, yeah, you're getting 2,000 clicks, but imagine you could be getting 200,000 clicks. So I was literally showing her the opportunities she's missing, because when you have queries are like seedlings, right? When you look at your Google Search Console, queries are like seedlings, right? Like seeds. When you plant seeds in the ground, those seeds are going to germinate fruit, right? So if I have 10 seeds, then I expect to have 10 trees. That's my expectation. But out of those 10 seeds, I might have 5 trees. Now, those 5 trees might have fruits, and those fruits may have fruits that are doing well and fruits that are not doing well, or fruits that are ripe and fruits that are unripe. So when you're looking at this analogy, you're asking yourself, okay, I have this tree. This tree is a mango tree, and now I have 5 mangoes. Yeah, I have 5 mangoes. Now these mangoes have 5 mango seeds, and those seeds are going to go back into the ground. So if you're using this analogy to ask yourself, okay, I have keywords and I have keys and I have information to tell you, then my domain is the car. My domain is the car that's going to ignite this key. If I don't have this keyword in my page tab, then this key is not active. It's not active. So if I have a query that says social media strategies, and then on my pages, I don't have domain.com/social media strategies, then that keyword is technically invalid, because if I want to just ignite this car and say, oh yeah, I have this car, but I don't have the keys, you can't drive anywhere. You have the car in the driveway, in the garage, but it's not moving an inch, a smidge, because there's no key to move it. There's no moving needle. So if the moving needle is not moved, then what are you moving? Are you moving social media posts here and there and neglecting your website? It's like the abandoned child. You don't want to do that. You've spent money, you've invested time, you've done research, you've asked questions, you've thought about this, you've consulted, you've prayed about it, you've meditated, you've thought, you've understood the value of what you will bring into the world, but you're not looking at the value of what you have in your hand. Because when you look at a domain, the next time you look at a domain, right, the domain is your, it's like your credit, like when you open your credit report, right? It will tell you the first credit report you ever opened. It will tell you January 1st, 1901. It will tell you exactly the date of the it was open, right? When you see that, that's because that's when it was first acted upon. So when you have a domain and you buy your domain from Squarespace, from GoDaddy, from Namecheap, from Hostinger, from SiteGround, from wherever you want to get it from, the moment you buy that domain and you have a purchased invoice receipt saying confirmation, hey, you have access to this domain, that domain is yours for the next year or two, depending on how many years you've renewed it for, right? Thank you, Agnes. Thank you for that thumbs up. So when you have this domain, now you have a car. You've bought this car off the lot, right? Now you want to drive this car off the lot to the mall, to the airport, to the restaurant, to the gym. You want to take this car. You want to show this car like, yeah, I can drive this car. Let's go on the highway. Let's go on the tollway. Let's go on the freeway. But you can't take that car anywhere on any way. Fill in the suffix, prefix, anything. You can't put anything there if the key is not active, if the key is not starting. Yeah, it's a push to start, but you need the key that's going to be close to it so that magnetically, it now connects to the car. So either way, you're still going to have a key. Whether you have a Tesla, you're going to have a card. You're going to have something that's going to be magnetic connected to what the source is. So you can say, yeah, keys, whatever. Replace a key with a card. Replace a card with a tag, an Apple tag, an Air tag, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, it's still a signal. It's still a signal. So when you have a new website, you have this new domain, and this new domain is under a new hosting. Now, this hosting is the engine of your car, your oil, your gasket, your catalytic converter, your, is it a V8, is it a V6, a V12, whatever the engine is, whatever, if you like cars, you can go in, literally pimp your ride and do what you want with your car, right? Because you have a good hosting, meaning that you have a good bandwidth, meaning that you have enough space. Because if your post goes viral and your server breaks or your server goes down, that's a missed opportunity because no one can click on the link. Imagine 3 million people want to click on your link and that link is not active. That is a big opportunity miss because no one's going to go back there. You might get people back, but it's not going to be 3 million. It might be 30% less or 50% less or probably less than anything but what you had initially. So if you want to start your SEO campaign with this step, the first step is to understand who are you talking to and who are you helping? Because the person you're helping is the person you're talking to. If you go to the doctor is going to be talking to you because it's going to help you with the problem that you came with. So if you are a website, a brand, a business, an authority, then your conversation should start and finish with information that will help them understand the formula and understand where they're going to and where they're coming from. So that means when somebody comes to your website, the first thing they're seeing is text. What is that text they're reading? And people are reading from left to right, right? So when people are reading, they're also scanning the page. And if they're scanning the page, one of the best things you can do is use alliteration, right? Because I'm in the entertainment business industry. I'm a musician, I'm a self-taught drummer, and I play drums at my church. I'm left-handed. I have a creative mindset, and I'm very big on music. I've been producing music for 2 decades now. So when I think about music and vowels and bars, beats and bars and cadences and all these things with artists, there's a way that the music has to flow, right? The melody has to rhyme. So when I'm thinking about alliteration, right? If you're using R's, that's when you think about all these big songs. These huge songs that are huge songs that have made Billboard chart awards, Grammy awards, that have even entered into movies and Hall of Fame, all these great movies. If you listen to those songs, you will realize that where they place emphasis the most is on the vowels. The A, E, O, U, Ella, Ella, A, da, 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 da. You can literally listen to vowels in between anything I'm saying or singing, because I didn't have to say any brand for me to tell you what brand it is, because psychologically you already know what I'm explaining or what I'm saying or what I'm portraying. So if you have a business and you use alliteration, choose a letter in the alphabet out of the 26 alphabets, right? Choose one and then focus on that one, and then show people how that translates into your business, right? Your mantra, your mission, your vision, your core values, your business statement, your about statement, your privacy policy, everything. All those things are there because those are the information that people are going to read. But it doesn't stop there, because you can put all these cosmetics and they can look great, but if they're not SEO structured, then you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity, because that big text that shows up, the first thing that you see, the first time you open someone's website, the first thing that you see, that is a H1 tag. Just like the way you go to a bookstore, you go to Barnes and Nobles, or you go to a bookshelf and you look at a book, that book you see is a H1, because that's the title that you are looking at. That's what you're reading. So if that title does not read or rhyme or discover or develop or have any type of connection to you, then you're not going to buy that book, because that book is not speaking to you. It's not about, you're reading a book to solve a problem. So the same thing with your website. If you're solving a problem, you're telling them right off the bat, this is what we're doing for you. And here's how. Because when people hear what, the next thing is how. And then the next thing is when. So when you think about these things, you're also asking yourself, okay, how do people connect back and how do they start these things? And John said it so well too. He said it so well when it comes to connecting the dots and also being very specific with your targeting. When you have a business, you're starting from a local standpoint, right? Just like when you register a business, you're registering it in the state of where you live or in the state of where you want to do business as. So, as a business owner, as a business leader, you should know this too, as a business owner or leader, that when you have a business, you're incorporating that business in the state of where you're operating or where it's going to operate from. So, the same thing happens with your ICANN, right? ICANN.org. This is where you think about internet as a corporation, right? And when you think about internet as a corporation, just like your business is a corporation, then the way you treat your website will be the way you treat your business, with the seriousness of getting your business locally connected. Because when you have a business, it's going to start from a place. And this place you're starting from is going to have a location tagged. So if there's a location tag to this, then the next thing is, how do I make sure people within this location are helping? We have a client we're helping right now in Georgia, and she has an amazing, beautiful bakery. But guess what? People within a 2 mile radius can't even find her, because I was getting to know this from her husband, and we made a great connection, and now I'm helping them with their websites, and all other great things are happening through collaborations. And this was the first task he gave me. He was like, okay, I think you really know what you're talking about. Like, okay, let me test you out. And I said, oh, give me this website. So I literally did an audit and I sent it back to him. He was very impressed. And I used Loom. I went to loom.com. I have the Loom app, and I audited the website within 3 to 5 minutes. And I sent the screenshots. I said, hey, here's what's wrong with your website. Boom, bump, boom. I think next 3 to 5 days, everything was completed, and we now have the project and we've onboarded the client, and now we're going to help the business, the bakery, get more leads, because we realized that things were broken. So it's like we fix. That's why it says fix at the top. It says fix and boost your website rankings now, because when you fix the problem, you have a solution, right? You focus on building it, right? And you're going to give somebody a long-term effect. Now, Coach Rob, thank you for this question. What is Loom? Loom is a recording tool that you can use as an extension to screen record your computer. Think about it like your phone screen recording, or think about like back in the day with QuickTime. You can still use QuickTime if you use QuickTime on your app on your Mac, and you can screen record. It's the same thing. It's just that Loom is just an enhanced way of doing it with sharing screen and all their features. But loom.com can get you right if you want to use it for presentations or things like that. So it's really very effective, very, very effective. Go ahead, John.
Guys, if you get one thing, like Coach Rob, if you get one thing out of this, even if it's not SEO, using Loom, I personally use Vimeo. So it's basically a screen recording, kind of like what Favor was saying. It records your screen, and you can turn the camera on so you can record yourself and the screen. So if you want to talk and share your screen and walk somebody through your sales process, this one little tip will change your sales or your business trajectory because you can share or sell your product or service through a recorded walkthrough. So you can turn your screen on, share your screen. So, like for instance, if you want to share if you want to do an audit of another person's website, you can do that because you're on their website and you're recording your screen. If you have a Google Doc and you have written a sales letter and you want to personally walk someone through your product or service, you can record it. And guess what? Now it's recorded. You send them the link and say, "Hey, I've done this. I literally do this almost daily." Okay, guys, I have over 1,000 recorded videos in my Vimeo account, and I know this. I know this favor. I know this that this call is not about Loom or Vimeo, but I just wanted to reiterate that this is a powerful, powerful strategy. So I'm sorry, back to you.
Now, go ahead, finish it. I was listening. I was because that's a big thing. If you don't use this type of tools, you're not going to scale. And these are websites too. And I feel like this conversation we're talking about today, it's very in context to the topic because John, you're talking about a website. The topic of the room is new website. Somebody hasn't heard Loom before. Coach Rob has never heard it before. So I feel like this topic is kind of like have you ever watched what's the name of this movie? Inception? So
Oh
it's
yeah,
yeah.
it's like we're three levels deep here. No, so like it's really interesting to think about what people want. Okay, let me give you a scenario. Okay, most everybody here is or should be on LinkedIn, right? Most of everybody here is on Facebook or some social media. And however you make money, okay, whatever product or service you have, you need to tell people about it, right? I mean, Coach Rob, put in the chat down there, what do you actually sell? Like, what's your product or service? So, you asked about cost. Now, I think Loom is free for the first 5 minutes, I believe. I'm not sure, but that's what it was before. What the cool part about Vimeo is that you can sign up and it is free for the first 30 minutes, I believe. I like Vimeo just because I've been using it for such a long time. I actually did use Loom for a while, but it's way worth the cost, way worth the price of admission. But here's how you use it, right? Whatever you are selling, let me pull this open, see what you're selling here. Autism coaching. Okay, awesome. So if you have a website, or you should have a website, you can record yourself like a actual recording, like you can turn your camera on, they call it a talking head video. So you turn your camera on and you're like, "Hey, it's Coach Rob. I want to talk to you about X, Y, and Z, the autism coaching." Or you can share your screen and walk a person through. So for instance, let's say if you did on your website, you had a form, you drove traffic there. It says, "Hey, get a free consultation or a free walkthrough on how I do business. And you can pre-screen people. And this is just one idea. You can go to ChatGPT and fill it full of your information and say, give me 10 ideas to use a screen recording video to sell my coaching. Okay, I would do that because it gives you more ideas. But how I do things is I say, hey, here's the benefits of working with me. Here's what you're going to get. Here's the expectations. And then I send that link to them via email or through social media. So when they get on the phone with you, Coach Rob, they're like, oh my gosh, Rob, I just watched your video and man, that was awesome. I'm ready to work with you. Maybe I have a couple questions, but they're preset, they're pre-programmed to know what you're going to offer them. They've already seen you. They already know, like, and trust you because they've seen you on the video. And here's why I do this is because when you get on the phone with somebody, and I know this is a little bit sarcastic, but if someone gets on the phone with you and they have not talked to you, they haven't really experienced what you're offering, but they're kind of interested, but they're kind of not. You don't know if, number one, they have the funds to actually purchase your product or service. You don't know anything about them, and it's kind of like starting from scratch. It's like, okay, and you got to ask all these questions and you got to figure this out. It's a lot. It's a time consuming. And then when you're in the business of what Favor and I do, I'm sure Favor you've done this, but you get on the phone with somebody who's like kind of cocky and they're like, what you got? What you got? Tell me what you got. I'm like, I'm not here to tell you what I got. I'm here to share with you what I can do for you. And I'm not here to pitch you. I'm here like, you know, this is my service and here's how it works and here's the budget. But that's where the screen recording, the recorded video, the Loom or the Vimeo will do all that work for you, the pre-work, the pre-selling. I think that's what I was trying to get to, Favor. It's a way to pre-sell your services. Hopefully that made sense.
It did. Thank you. It definitely did. And that's why I brought it up, because these are tools that if you're able to use as a business and you're listening, you're going to gain a lot of information and learn along the way, because it's not just about you. If it's about you, then I mean, okay, cool story. But if it's about the people you're serving, then it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And that's why that is a great way to connect. And you send the link, you say, hey, watch this 5-minute video to explain the problem, and somebody who actually needs a solution will watch that, because they know that money is being lost. You don't want to lose money, and sometimes you don't know how much money you're losing until you look at the numbers and you're like, oh my god, imagine if I was on this page for the last 2 years or last 2 weeks, what would I have been getting? We have a client yesterday. She was so excited because she has a new client that's for the first time in her business, because she hadn't been connected to Search Console. She hadn't been, pretty much anywhere on the web. And she only has like 4 or 5 pages on her website. So it's kind of a new website, but she's doing well. But when I spoke with her, she's like, hey, we got somebody that reached out from Google and they wanted to work with us. I was like, what? And she helps with trauma therapy. So and I learn more from my clients than they learn from me and my team, because I didn't know there was something called, I don't want to butcher the word. I'm going to go to the Search Console and get it, because I want to make sure you guys hear. Yeah, I'm on the Search Console. Let me see. I'm going to find, this is there we go. Childhood trauma therapy for adults. I didn't know there was something like that. So that's what I'm getting. And that's the kind of people she's serving. So it's a very specific niche. It's a website that is new, but she's already getting clients within her first 2 weeks with us. And we just started just somewhere in the middle of June. And I told her, just give it 3 months, because your website is going to rank. And she's on Wix. We build websites on WordPress. We build websites on Webflow. We build it on Squarespace. It doesn't matter. We just know exactly what's supposed to work, because every platform, yes, they have their own aesthetics, But the fundamental is, do all of them have the ABC of SEO? What's the ABC of SEO? The ABC of SEO is three things. A, can it be crawled? Meaning that can your pages be seen by the bots, whether it's an AI bot or a Google bot or a Bing bot? Can bots read your page? That's the first A. B, can the bots index your content? Can it be indexed? Meaning that can it be put within a listing? It's kind of like saying when I go to the library, can I put this book on the shelf and will this book help the people that come to the library when they're looking for this chapter or looking for this edition? That's literally what you're trying to say. If this book is not going to match the quality of the standard that is already out there, Google is not going to put you at the listing. So it's not like, oh yeah, I have a link, I'm going to crawl an index. No, the crawling comes from the context. So that means even the information you're crawling has to make sense. So it's not just crawling, yes, indexing, yes. It's what are you talking about first and who are you helping next? So when you have your crawling, that's your A, you have your indexing, that's your B, and then your C is serving. Serving. That's search results. Because if you're serving, that means you're serving data, you're serving looks. Some people serve with just links. Some people serve with FAQs beneath them. Some people serve with a sitemap connected. Some people serve with a maximum preview within the robots TXT. That's for traditional websites. Now there's LLMS TXT, right? For AI, right? How do you end up within the AI visibility bar? Are you showing up on ChatGPT? Are you showing up on Perplexity? Are you showing up on Cloud? This is the new ranking system. So anybody that's telling you SEO is keywords and blogs, please run. Please run. I beg you, please run. Because we're telling you things that not many people talk about. Yes, those things matter. They're very important, but gone are the days when you put a blog on the website to rank so you can make a client or find a service. That doesn't work. What works is quality of information that you're putting out in form of those same articles that you're publishing. Because if I look at your website, and Coach Rob, thank you for putting the link. I checked it out, myautismgifts.com. If you'd like me to do a quick audit, please say yes or no in the chat, and then I'll do it. I like to ask first before I say anything or do anything with anyone's property as well. So
Can
thank
I
you.
can I say
Yeah,
something here?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So, just a little bit of like a little bit of kind of a balance for the new listeners. Blogs and blogs are content, right? But it's like what Favor is saying is there's the balance of them. Can you still do a blog? Sure, right? Do we still do content with a blog? Yeah, of course. But there's so much more. I think I just wanted to say there's if someone says that we do blogs, that doesn't mean it's bad, right? Favor chime in here, but
Yeah.
it's not just blogging. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's not just blogging because the thing people are thinking SEO is like, oh, I'm just going to put a number of blogs and then that's my SEO. That's
Right.
literally what people
It,
are thinking.
yes. So that to clarify that, guys, if someone says they do blogging, that's not bad. If it's their only thing they do, then that's the problem. And I've been doing SEO for 20 some years, 22, 23 years. And one of the things I've learned and take away I want to share with you guys is just because someone says SEO or whatever the term is, okay? Like for instance, let me move it over to a completely different analogy. If they say this is the analogy of SEO. If they say I drive a car, okay, well, there's so many different cars and vehicles and ways. Why do you have a car, right? Is it a truck? I mean, a vehicle, right? Why do you have a vehicle? Is it a semi or is it a convertible? So when someone says, I do SEO, ask more questions of what that means to them. That's the balance that I wanted to interject here. So, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, John. I love that. I think the first question, like you said, the first question you should ask somebody is, what is your process? And when you hear the person respond back and they tell you their process, that's how you're going to know what they do. It's like an interview. Hey, tell me about yourself or tell me about your past experience. The moment they start talking is when you start listening and you start paying attention to what you need to know. if you're really attentive and you're looking in between the lines. So it definitely makes sense. And thank you for saying yes, Rob. I will make sure I have some information for you. I'm going to share. AEO is better. Okay, so thank you for asking this question. So I talked about this in the last episode about SEO, AEO, GEO, SXO, AIO. Please don't get these things confused. Please do not. Don't even think about them. It's actually better not to think about them and let us think about it for you. But if you want to know about it at all, just know that it's pretty much AEO is an answer engine optimization. In other words, it's like your Alexa, your Siri, your Google, your something that is responding back to you. You know, now there's ChatGPT, it's an answer engine. So an engine that is answering a question about you. So when you're optimizing those engines, your engines are being optimized through audio. That's why podcasting is a great place, either as a guest or as a host, because when you're talking, the words you're speaking are being transcribed into text, which can be transcribed into captions that can be auto generated as keywords. That's where Siri says, according to this podcast, according to this blog, according to this edition, according to that, it's coming from a source, a citation, which is coming from you, if you're the person that they're going to cite from. But the only way they're going to cite from you is if your operations within your website setup is complete. And what we do whenever we onboard our clients, the first thing we do, like we don't do anything, like we don't even turn on the car, we don't do blogs, we don't touch a thing until all the DNS, which stands for domain name server records, are all talking to each other and they're all compliant. Because here's the problem. If you start sending emails, yeah, let's do email marketing or let's do social media, let's do SEO blog, great. But in 30 days, if I don't give you a graph or a report or a study or a presentation or a keynote that explains how we move from here to here, you're going to be looking at me crazy. You're going to look at my team crazy. And I don't have that time to be looked at like that because I'll show you exactly what has happened from the beginning. Because when you show up at the beginning, the first thing is to ask, hey, have you connected your website to Google Search Console? Yes, no. If it's a yes, okay. Have you submitted your sitemap? Yes, no. Okay. Have you done technical SEO? Meaning, are your website links actually being auto indexed or are they being manually indexed? So it's kind of like going through a diagnosis when you're going to ask questions in a room or whether it's a doctor or whatever it is. So when you're getting those information pieces, those keywords have value. So when I'm learning from you and I know, okay, your business is in this location, like for my autism gifts, I'm seeing that's in Los Angeles, right? So now in my mind, I know, okay, we do zip code marketing. So within the Los Angeles area, there are a certain number of zip codes that you want to operate in and that you're already operating in. Even if you're operating outside those zip codes, you still want to be connected back as a local base. So that's where your website, your schema, which it stands for pretty much a markup language, a rich text-based information, which you can now use and say, hey, we serve in this area, this area. Those are codes. Those are things that we put into operation so that when your website is looking clean and it's looking very, very sophisticated, at the same time, you have schema, meaning that Google bots, all these bots I talked about with the ABCs can now scan through your website, crawl through it, understand what your website is about. Because now I talked about it in the beginning, Google Movera, this is a new algorithm system for Google. Google Movera is not just looking at the keywords, it's looking at the context behind the keywords and the helpful context behind the keywords. The context and the helpful context. Why did I say that? Because context is going to give you like the directives, it's going to give you the key action takers, it's going to tell you all the points. But when you're looking at it from a deeper perspective, those are the things that are going to make or break when it comes to helpful. Because if it's not helpful to me, then it's not going to be served to me. If you're trying to help me out, but I don't need your help, is it a help? Is it helpful or is it helpless? So your question is based on how do you get that person from point A to B. So for us with SEO, if you want to start your campaign, the first step is to audit your website, audit your website. You can go to these two websites. I'm telling you these websites for free because you can have a toolbox. You can go to Home Depot, but you got to know how to use your tools. So I'm going to give you these two tools. One tool is called Siteliner, SITELINER.com. Siteliner, right? Siteliner is going to allow you to scan your website. If you have less than 250 pages, it's going to be free. If you have more than 250 pages, it's going to be paid. You'll get to that quota. When it hits the quota, you now have to upgrade to keep scanning. But as long as you have 250 pages or less, you can use that, and you can enjoy it. But when you see the results, and you see what's going on, you see you have broken links, or you have pages that are duplicated, or you have thin pages, or your pages are in kilobytes and not megabytes, that's when you start realizing, okay, there's a problem here. And then if I'm able to just pretty much decode it and tell you what you're looking at, just like you can tell a doctor to tell you what he's reading, he'll explain everything in English that is understandable. Because at the end of the day, yes, you know that scientific term, but you want to know what it says in layman terms. So the same thing you're doing with SEO starts with this. It's an audit. So I'll audit your website. Like for you, Coach Rob, I'm looking at your website right now, and I can see that on your website, you don't have an open graph. Now, let me explain what an open graph is. An open graph is a thumbnail, a snippet. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's a snippet of a page that is being shown on a social platform. So let's say you have an article in your website, or you have a page, and I see your website is beautiful. I love the colors. It's really, really clean as well. When I look at the open graph, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, can somebody see this if I send them a link on Facebook? If I put this link on Facebook and say, okay, go to Facebook and then here's my link. You know that preview? Anytime you post something on LinkedIn or Facebook or X, and then you post a link and then it pops out with a thumbnail, it pops out with, text in the middle, it pops out with that little thumbnail. That's an open graph. That's a little thumbnail. So when it doesn't have a URL, a title, a description, and it's empty, that's going to be hard, because now when I send you that link is not going to open up an open graph. It's going to stay as a closed graph. In other words, it's just going to remain as a link. Now that link is not going to generate a thumbnail. It won't generate text metadata, because there's nothing that is to be contextually connected back to you or encrypted. So if it's not there, then it's going to be a problem for somebody to engage, because the whole point of an open graph is so that when somebody sees that thumbnail or sees that picture, like a YouTube, imagine if your YouTube video didn't have a thumbnail. That's going to be a problem. So that's an open graph, because that thumbnail is what's going to allow you to open the link or click through the link. So when it's not there, that's already a missed opportunity, because people don't know what's going on behind the link. It's more like a way of saying, hey, open house, come check out the house before you buy the house, because you want to know what's in the house before you become one with the house, or you buy the house, or you invest in the house. So that's the same thing I'm looking at with your website. Another thing too is I don't see any H1 tags. So we talked about H1 tags earlier. H1 tags is like the cover. So you said that you do autism coaching. So I said, okay, let me go into the search and see. Autism worldwide has a monthly search of 15 million searches a month. Now, autism coaching, and then please tell me, Coach Rob, if it's just US based or it could be anyone in the world. So I'm not outside your scope. So let me know if it's US only or worldwide based. So we're looking at a difference between the millions and also the thousands. Now, autism coaching has actually been on the rise from, let me see, from, oh my goodness, from December 15th, 2024, it's been rising, because in December 2024, it was 6,000 searches a month. And now it's at 12. Yeah, it's bordering at 10 to 12,000 searches a month worldwide. Look who's here. Brand's here. Thanks for being here, Brand. Worldwide. Okay, perfect. So I'll keep the tab open on worldwide. So now that I'm seeing 10,000 searches per month, right? Now someone is asking, what is autism coaching, right? I'm now looking at cost per click. Now, if I'm looking at this for you, I'm literally giving you free game here, but we would have to put this together and structure it together and actually do it. So I'm going to put my link at the top of this room. So in case you actually want to do this, and anyone else listening, you can also please go to the link in the chat, or just, go to playinc.online and schedule a meeting, and we'll have a complimentary SEO discovery call so you can see this for yourself too. Or you could book a call and I'll do the same thing with Loom and send you a recording before we get on a call so you can see it beforehand. Because what I'm seeing right now, it costs me, or it will cost you, because this is your industry, it will cost you $17.49 for the keyword ADHD and autism coaching. Now, out of these 10,000 monthly searches, because remember, autism, the word, has 15 million searches a month. So you're doing 10,000 out of 15 million searches. That's a very niche specific focus. So now your website doesn't have a H1 tag, meaning that the word autism coaching, let's say for brilliant minds or to embrace diversity and unleash brilliance, that's what I'm seeing on your website, Dream Boldly. If I don't have this as a H1, as a heading one, meaning that this is not my first point of contact, because the first point of contact when your website is being crawled in that ABC formula is your heading. So there are two things. There's your heading and there's your URL. If the URL, which is your uniform resource locator, which is like the way you put in the chat, www.myautismgift.com, that is your URL. Now, anything after that is a forward slash is now becoming a pathway on your website. So if I go to your website and I see this about your coach, now that's about us. Then I see their services. Then I see connect. Those things are there. Great. I'm loving that they're there. Now, the thing is, on screen, I can read everything. I know exactly what it is. I can click the buttons. But from the SEO back end, from the technical standpoint, the words that we're talking about that has that 10,000 monthly search volume is not coming to your website because you don't have that keyword connected as a link, as a page, or even as a text. So that's where we now come to optimize. And this is a great example. Thank you so much for allowing us to look at your website, Coach Rob, because when you think about an SEO campaign, my first question is, okay, where are you located? Okay, it's California. All right. Now in California, out of this 10,000 worldwide searches, how many people locally are searching for it? Because what's going to start happening with SEO, it starts from the local. You know how charity begins at home? It's the same thing with your website. Before somebody in Hawaii or somebody in India or someone in Australia gets to look at your website, it has to come from your home base first, right? You don't go for competition or tournament without training or winning the league from a home standpoint or from a local standpoint. So why I'm giving that example is because if you're locally based there, then you have pages which can build on your website, which will now give you local traffic, which will now signal more traffic to regional, national, and global, which is now international appeal. That's how you now get to that 10,000 a month. Because when I'm seeing here, people are thinking about autism coaching certification, autism coaching for parents, for adults, high functioning, yeah, they're looking for high functioning autism coaching for teens, access to work, autism coaching near me, autism coaching course, access to work, jobs, adults, online qualification, and I can see everything here. So this tells me, okay, if this is what I'm looking at, then I know that these are the people who are going to be looking for this information in the near future. And I'm looking at the seasons. It's telling me January, February, March is a high season. April through September is a low season. And then October, November is a high season. And December is a low season. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Coach Rob, because I'm looking at a graph from a 5-year trajectory graph. And it's been going up. It was down -6% the last month. It's up 5% in the past quarter. And it's 86% up in the past year. So that just tells me that a lot of businesses would love to know how they can also get in contact with you when you now have information that people can actually connect to, knowing that they can actually see you online because they actually went to search for autism coaching near me, and then near them they found you online or on ChatGPT or anywhere else. So that's what I wanted to let you know. And then Mo, please, especially when it comes to copy, just point to Coach Rob, and then I'd love to hear your feedback to Coach Rob. So Mo, please feel free.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get to the site. Hold on one second. But anyway, nice to meet you, Coach Rob. Let's see. AutismGifts.com. Dream boldly, embrace diversity, and unleash brilliance. Okay. I like that. Um, yeah, like you said, definitely you need those H1s, right? Because the H1s, most people scroll versus uh, reading. So that's going to be something that's going to grab their attention all the bit because it's big and it's bold.
How does one add that?
Huh?
How does somebody add that?
Oh, well, I mean, just have your graphic designer just add it. Or do you have access to it? Or,
Well,
um,
I'm not technically inclined, so uh,
okay. All
so
right.
to
So who added the text onto the website? Was it you or was it your graphic designer?
how to add H1 to 1 second. Tags to
All right. So
one
you
second.
just
I'm
highlight
taking
the
some notes
text.
here. Hang on a second here.
Okay.
Okay. Well, actually, the short version of a longer story is that a friend of mine, um, a friend's company created the site, and then it was there was some issues with him and his company, so now it's on a different it's at a different it's being hosted somewhere else. So I mean, I know technical people uh who can, and I will ask them, to add H1 tags to my website. It reminds me, I mean, when I thinking H1, I'm thinking an H1 visa from the government.
Okay.
But
All right.
but but so on the website, I say that, well, actually, in my profile here, I say I add humor to things. So what I mean by that is that, rather than an H1 visa, why don't they call it an H1 American Express? Because American Express, you're not supposed to leave home without it, per their advertising. Do you get that humor, or did that go over your head?
I mean, I got it. It just wasn't funny to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yes, okay, right. It's
okay.
not one of my funny ones, but it
Yeah.
just came to mind. So
All right.
okay.
So basically, looking at your copy, right? From a copywriting standpoint, like right off the rip, right, where it says "Dream boldly, embrace diversity, unleash brilliance, connect with me." I don't have a compelling reason to connect with you, right?
Hmm.
So you need to give me that, right? Why should I connect with you? Why is that worth my email? Why is that worth my time? Right? What value does that present to me? Right? And then you continue that on through the rest of your copy, right? So you need to start talking about more of because you're giving facts of what you do, right? Nobody's really going to care what you do. How can you help my autistic child? How can you help my
Right. Hmm.
autistic grandchild, right? So
Hmm.
give me the benefits, like what's in it for me versus the facts of what you do, right? Facts tell, stories sell, right?
Right.
So
Hmm.
if I don't see the value, I'm doing nothing and I'm out of here,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, you know, nice picture of you. So, and then you also want to start more of your sentences, actually, all of your sentences. Let me back that up. All of your sentences need to start with a verb or adverb, right? Just like at the top, dream bold, right? No sentence should start with I or my or anything like that, right? So, if you use ChatGPT or whatever, just have ChatGPT formatted so that you're action oriented up front, right? And that's a little subtle copy trick for everybody in the room when you start off with action words, especially when people are skimming, that you show that you're an action taker and you're prepping them to take an action at the end, whether it's to book that appointment or download your ebook, join your Facebook group, subscribe to your YouTube channel, right? Also, you want to build a little bit stronger call to actions, right? Book an appointment is um, a little bit weak, right? You might want to start with, you know, I mean, it's going to take up a little bit more room on the button, but if you can slide a benefit in there, right? Click here to start your high functioning journey, right? Or click here to get your coaching um, discount for 50%, right? Act now, spots, spots are going fast, something like that. You want to give
Mhm.
them that benefit and a sense of urgency in the click to and the call to action button, right? Because book an appointment, yeah, okay, I can do that at any time. Why do I need to do it now, right?
Mhm.
So you got to encourage them a little bit more with stronger call to actions. So are you with me so far?
Yes, I'm taking notes here.
Okay, cool. All right, hey, back to you, favorite.
Thank you, Mo. I just wanted to let you, dive deep into that part for copy because it's very important to look at it too. And speaking of looking, Coach Rob, I just sent you an email. So check your email. I've sent you the graphs so you can see the everything. You will see everything there from the I sent you two graphs. One is on autism, the other one is on autism coaching. You'll see the periodic scale, you'll see the trajectory, you'll see the seasonality, you'll see why it's happening, and then if you want to discuss further, I also put the link in there so you can schedule a call so we can talk about it and turn this graph into something on your website as opposed to it being looked at on a dashboard from us, an open source. How does that sound?
Um, Thank you for that. So I'm in LA. Where are you
I'm in
guys?
Houston.
Okay. And Mo, where is Marvelous Mo?
I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. So you got Marvelous Mo and Fabulous Favor, and I'm Remarkable Rob.
Whatever it takes for you to
So,
remember my name, brother. You can call me Mo Dub, Monkey Love, whatever it takes, right?
okay.
So, and I want to applaud you for coming up on stage too, because it's one thing that me and Favorite talk about all the time is that people who get on stage get paid. Whether you're asking
Oh,
questions or sharing your knowledge, get on stage, you get paid every single time.
oh, I agree. Oh, oh, trust me, I'm a Toastmaster, so I like stage time. So I have no problem with that. Okay. So I was supposed to be on a Zoom call 9 minutes ago, but I let this go longer because obviously it was important to me. Give me give me just 1 second. I need to see if website needs to be mobile first. So it's not mobile first. What do you mean by that?
So what they mean by that is like you need to check out all the views, right? Not just the laptop view, but the mobile
Mm-hmm.
view,
Mm-hmm.
because most people are looking on their phones and some people look on
Mm-hmm.
their tablets too. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to check out the multiple views to make sure it's still all aligned and it looks um sleek on and in every single fashion that your one of your clients might find you. That's all that means.
Does it look okay on cell phones?
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. H is in the building. Wanted to bring you up too so you can, point to Coach Rob and explain that too.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay. I will be right back. Hang on.
All right. H, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hello, thanks for having me. How's everybody doing?
Great, great. What are you taking from the conversation today? How are you feeling and what's coming to mind?
Well, honestly, I just came in a couple of minutes ago, so I was just listening to the feedback. I thought it was quite interesting. Love SEO, love SEO conversations as well. Yeah, and so I just kind of had a look at his website. I think the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, what are the services that he provides? And I'm obviously looking at it on my phone, as most people would be. Right, and I saw, okay, he has a couple of he has monthly packages with either one session a month, two sessions a month, but he only then talks about his coaching program at the bottom below that. So when I first see that he's got these sessions, I don't know what those sessions actually entail. So it takes several scrolls for me to actually see that, and most people are not going to do that on a mobile um view, right? So it's okay, what is it that I can get per session, and why would I want to get two sessions or four sessions instead? So I would answer the why right at the top.
I love that. Thank you. That is so true because there's something called page depth and scroll depth. And when you have a tool like Microsoft Clarity that you install, which is free, and you have it on your website, it allows you to see how people scroll. And they show you how people scroll on three devices: mobile, computer or desktop, or tablet. And then you realize that these different spaces have different elements. That's why when you're building a website, you're building it in three ways. Someone says, "Yeah, I'm building a website," but you're building it for three devices. Three devices. So it's one to the power of three, or three to the power of one, however you want to put it. But at the end of the day, you're having three simultaneous avenues of access that if I use my computer, which I did, H used her mobile, and Mo probably used his computer. So we're getting different views on the same domain, on the same website, but what H is feeling is going to be completely different from how I'm feeling. And what Mo's feeling is going to be different from the way H is feeling. So if you want people to feel the same way across the board as a new website, that is important. The SEO, the text, the context, the technical. Don't just build a website and leave it hanging. Because most people, I've heard horror stories where, you can't even have access to your own property. It's like saying you don't have access to your car keys or your wallet or your house keys. That's a problem. You own it, so why don't you have access to it and it's yours? So when you think about it like that in that capacity, it changes. And then when you start realizing these words that you put on your website have traffic value, meaning that the value of that is what somebody else could be paying for. Like I was mentioning earlier, somebody can search for ADHD and autism coaching, and somebody's paying $17 a click, where you're getting it for free, Coach Rob, if you have it on your website to begin with. So that's where the structure and the mapping comes in. And that's where ChatGPT and all these other AI tools start to find you as a resource because you're the person that's putting them in the first place within the context of your website. But it will never be accessible if you're not having those titles and those cases in those places. So, Coach Rob, I wanted to pass it to you before we proceed. And hear your thoughts. And I know you had to go for a call, so I wanted to, pass it back to you real quick. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Well, I mean, I just told my coach that I was in this room and I'm being delayed. So she's okay with that. I'm so when you're in the coaching business, obviously, in addition to listening, you need to be open to input in addition to listening to people. So because you have two ears and one mouth, and you're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. So I'm an open book and I'm an open sponge, and I'm taking notes. And my question is about page depth and scroll depth. What about that?
Yes, so thank you for that question. When I mentioned page depth and scroll depth, first of all, scroll depth is how far your website scrolls. So if you go to any website, just count the number of times you move your mouse. If you have a mouse, how many times do you, move your finger down the page, or how many, if you have a Mac and you're using two fingers and you're swiping, count the number of times. Like, this is an actual mathematical methodic way of doing it, right? If you think about the formula of the number of times you actually scroll, right? So if I go
Mhm.
to a website and I scroll, if I go to my Gmail now, I'm doing one, two, three. That's the scroll depth. Three
Mhm.
counts. So if your website, like a landing page, has 16 scrolls, that means that the lower I'm going in as I'm going deeper into the page, it's getting colder, like an ocean. The lower you go, the darker it gets, the colder it gets. The same thing with your website. You don't Nobody sees the bottom of the ocean at the top. So if you have that same concept for your website, whatever people say at the top is 100% of the people on the shore. But if someone wants to go down to 20%, this has to make sense, because crawling it from top down, AI, SEO wise, it has to make sense. And the context has to also be in depth and also helpful. It's not just, oh, I'm putting paste text or I have infographics from Canva. They have to strategically make sense and also have context. So I hope that made sense when you look at the two with scroll depth and page depth.
Well, correct. So basically, it's how many. So if you're at the top of the website, it's how many times you scroll to get to the bottom. Correct.
Yes, it's pretty much how many times it's based on your website build. If you build a website and your website is super long, then just know that people are going to have to scroll all the way down to the bottom to sign up to your email list, as opposed to having at the very top or somewhere above the fold where people can see that majorly. So it's called CRO. That's the term, conversion rate optimization. How do you change things and elements, move from left to right? Do you use justified? Do you use left aligned? These are like little things, font size, that may not look very significant or insignificant, but they do have a huge effect on how it plays. Because if you have a font size of 24 and somebody else has a font size of 12, that's going to have a bigger pixel, because now your
Of course.
website
Yeah.
it's now from 5 kilobytes to maybe 35 kilobytes. So it definitely has a big impact when you start thinking about those technical things, as opposed to just, oh, I got a website, or it looks pretty, or because I have the right keywords. So gone are those days. That's why I wanted to be very specific with how that, flows.
Okay. So conversion. What does the R and the O stand for?
Rate optimization.
Great. Okay.
And also H says you want to use the top of your website to answer the what and why of your service. H, could you say it again? Because I know when you mentioned it earlier, Coach was not in the room.
Yes. So, just referring to your website specifically, right? So when I did go, just give me a moment. Let me go back to it now.
Great.
Right. So when I go to your services, right? Because that's the first thing I want to know what it is that you offer.
Mhm.
And I scroll down and I see you've got your monthly packages. Great. And I see you've got one session a month and this is how much you would charge and so on and so forth. But I have to scroll down to the bottom to actually understand what each session has. So you would probably and I haven't checked what it looks like on desktop, so probably the experience might be slightly different. But you want to create a hook so that I understand what I get out of the $75 that I'm paying, why I should pay 130 instead of $75. So
Mhm.
sometimes if you go to specific websites, right? And they will have the different packages. You will see that they will list down the different services that are offered in each package. That's
Mhm.
one way to do it. Then, right from the top, I can make a comparison and see, okay, this is what I can afford. And from what I can afford, if I were to go higher and go for the next package, what do I get out of it? Right? So you have to let people know why they should opt for what they should opt for and
Mhm.
why this is the recommended package instead. So
Mhm.
pricing is one thing, but aside from pricing, what does each price actually offer me? So you need to actually show the value right at the top,
Mhm.
right? And sorry, didn't quite get the names. I'm not sure if it was Mo, somebody who mentioned about conversion rate optimization. Just to simplify that, right? It's what are the things that I need to do to create higher conversions for my business? So, what do I need to change within my website to actually optimize it, or to make the necessary changes to then basically get the desired outcome? And so little things from your design to your colors to placement of text, the kind of headings that you use, and so on and so forth, all those things kind of add up collectively to give you that result that you need.
Okay.
This is good. Yeah, Coach Rob, I feel like you've gotten a masterclass today, and I think this was definitely helpful. I believe it was, and I'd love to hear from you so that we can, wrap up the room in about 8 minutes. But I wanted to make sure that this question about new websites and SEO and all these things are tackled and brought home so that you don't have to worry about these concepts. And everything starts off with the next step. So now my question for you is, what's your next step, Coach Rob?
I will be. I will. I just need. I will answer that question in about 30 seconds. Hang on a second here, okay?
No worries.
I just need to do something in my phone here. Hang on. Let's see. This is going to be rated. Oh gosh, there we go. Give me a second here. I have timers on everything, so I'm just increasing my timer here. Hang on. Well, yes, it was. It was obviously extremely, extremely valuable. I mean, yes, I agree that it was definitely a masterclass, and thank you, universe, for bringing me into this for 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 bringing me into this great room with um with Mr. Fabulous, Mr. Marvelous, and Ms. I don't know what the H stands for, but I'll call her Ms. Happy. Okay, and I'm remarkable, rejoicing Rob, and we have in the listening lounge joyful Joanna and Mr. Bold Batum and Mr. Excellent Emmanuel and Mr. and I don't know what Charan is, if that's a man or a woman, but caring Charan. So thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for your generous info. I so appreciate everyone here.
You are welcome, Coach Rob. Appreciate you for sharing your light with us today. This was a room that I believe has answered the question of the day. If you have
How
a
do
new
I get this?
website,
How do I
sorry?
get the recording? I know the replays are on, but I don't know how to look. I don't know how to look for the replays um in on to so that I can replay things if I need to.
Okay, there are two ways you can do it in this place. Whenever I have a room, there are two ways you can find it. The first way, in fact, the second option is the better option because that will get it right into your inbox, right into your email, so that you don't miss out on anything that happens around here. And I'm going to put the link at the top, but I'll also talk about the first option. So you are a member of the marketing club. So when you hit the marketing club on top of the title of the room today, when you hit marketing club at the top of this room, when you hit it, you'll see three dots. Those three dots, you're going to see three dots. On the top right of your screen, you'll see three dots. You'll see an inbox sign and you'll see an X sign to close the window. So you hit on the three dots that are in a horizontal format or a horizontal line. When you click on that three dots, it's going to tell you house settings. And then within house settings, one of the options you're going to see there, which is the fourth option, is listen to replays. So when you click on listen to replays, you can tap on any of the replays and scroll all the way down and catch up on all the replays in the marketing club. And then the second option is you can listen to the We Don't Play podcast show by clicking the link at the top or go to we don't play podcast.com. And when you go to wedon'tplaypodcast.com, you can sign up, subscribe, put your best email and also put your first name. And then you will get an email that will also give you insights about what's happening, because life be lifing, and a lot of people, we're all over the world doing a lot of things. But if you want to stay connected and also stream alongside 150 countries that are also tapped in, please feel free to join us on the show, and we'll definitely love to connect with you. And if you have any questions, Coach Rob, always, feel free to be with us. We're actually going to be here tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central. We're going to be talking about Google doesn't just search, it understands beyond keywords. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into what we talked about today. So hope that answered the question.
So if I wanted to get, so if I wanted to send myself a link to today's recording, can I do that now, or do I have to wait until the room
So what you
ends?
can do, great question too. So before the room ends, if you click on the top three dots in the room, before it says leave quietly,
Mm-hmm.
you see those three dots. If you hit those
Right.
three dots, you're going to see at the bottom that says save replay.
Uh, does not say save replay.
It doesn't tell you save replay.
It
Okay.
says replay is on. This is being
No,
recorded.
yeah,
Search,
don't, yeah,
search,
don't,
report, room title, and a share.
oh no, not there, not there. On the right side, you should be able to see the three dots where it says leave quietly on the right, top right.
Yes,
So underneath it, you're gonna see three dots. When you click those
exactly.
three dots, what are the options it gives you?
Says live details, replays on, search, report, room title, and share.
And
It, it,
share.
it does not say what you said.
It doesn't say saved. Okay. I probably have
No.
to be in the audience to do this, but Mo or H, are you able to save the replay? Because you can save replays. Because for me, if I look at this, I can see save replay in my settings, but I don't know if
All right.
everyone can see it.
Well, let me ask you this favor. You're on an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I'm on
I'm on an
Android.
Android.
And I see Android. I see exactly what Rob is seeing. So
That's why. So now I can.
So yeah, I'm on an iPhone and I do not see that.
Huh. Interesting.
maybe you say because you're the host, right? You're the one who created the room. But
What when
yeah,
Can
all
you
I see
can you
is
email me
I
your
see the
link
moderator
after you save it?
tools.
Can you email me a link to it?
Okay, so I'll send you a link to it, Coach Rob. And I think the best thing to do is just to have access to anything after this, not just this room, is when you click the link at the top, tap on the link and then put your contact information, and that way you can now get access to the emails when the episodes come out. That'll be the fastest option, honestly.
Okay, so hang on a second. So I clicked on so I clicked on the name of the house. Now I'm seeing marketing club, 351,000 members. Um, I'm seeing the three dots next to that, the three vertical dots.
Okay, right.
Um,
So when you go
I,
there, great. So now as you said that, you just kind of gave me a recap. I've been on Clubhouse for almost 5 years, so it feels like there's so much has changed here. So now I remember they've changed the setup. So what you do, whether you're on Android or iPhone, when you hit Marketing Club at the top and you click on those three dots where you are right now, Coach Rob, when you go to listen to replays, go to
mhm,
any of those replays, and then you're going to see three dots on the right. Then you're going to see
correct.
save replay.
Okay.
So try that out on any of, don't click into the room, but
It
just,
says yes, correct.
you
Right.
see it?
It says share replay, report room title, and save replay. Yes.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So
Okay.
once the room closes, you can go back there and then you can save the replay to come back and listen on Clubhouse.
Got it. Okay. Give me just 1 second. So save replay. Okay. SEO explained. Save replay. Okay. I don't want Pinterest. Voice branding.
It's
Uh,
a long list.
re-
We have over 200, 300 episodes on this marketing cover. I've been doing it for a long time. So yes, now that you found it, that's how to save it. Whenever you come into the, you come back to the Clubhouse, you can always go to your saved replays and you can find it there. And I'm glad you asked that question because a lot of people don't know where to find this. So you've literally saved a lot of people's time and stress on trying to figure this out. So thank you for that question, Coach Rob.
And thank you, Mr. Fabulous. Or do you prefer Mr. Fantastic? Or maybe you can be Triple
How
F.
about Triple F favor?
Okay, okay, got it. Okay, and I can be and I can be Triple R, and we got Triple H, even though she's not a wrestler.
I love that. Triple H, great guy. Remember Triple H, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels. Yeah, great days.
Uh, sh-
Mm-hmm.
I think Triple H is now running WWE now that Vince is either resigned or in prison or something like that. So I know there was a bunch of criminal charges against him, but that's not the subject of this room, obviously. So
Mm-mm. I just had to put that out there real quick. Yeah, so
exactly. That's why I mentioned that.
amazing. Glad we had this
So
conversation today, and a lot of information has been said. If you were listening to this and you got to this point, thank you for listening because we're doing this for you. We're listening to you and we're learning from you, and we want to see how you can grow. And I believe if you want me to bring a topic about old websites and with the same start your SEO campaign with this step, put a one in the chat. If you're here, put a one in the chat. If you want to think or even listen to the topic on old websites. So how do you, pretty much like trying to get an old house and, revamp or redo the house. So if you want to do that, yeah, let me know. Okay, I see a one in the chat. All right, so I'm gonna bring that topic in because some people just don't know what to do with their websites or what to do with their content. So I want to make sure that you can do this correctly. Basim says one, Coach Rob says one, Johanna says one. All right, so all the ones, Sharon says one. It's a deal. It's a deal. So I'll bring the topic to you probably on Monday because I have a topic for tomorrow. So I'll probably bring it on Monday about old websites and then we can, run this up and see how this goes. But if you have any questions, anything you have in mind, if you want to book a call with me, please hit my face, click on my face, and you'll see all the links there. Or you can just go to the description where you can find all the links to book a call. And that way you can get in contact with me. I'm also going to put the link in the chat for anyone that wants to just click on it right away before we close out the room, because I feel like with this information, it will help you understand it. So for anyone that's scrubbing all the way to the end, because I know people like to run to the end and then start from the beginning and do a whole rewind, this is what you're going to get. If you're starting a new website or if you have a new website, the best way to start your SEO campaign is to first audit your website. If you don't have a website, audit your keyword research, right? Because you're auditing a website off keyword research. But if you don't have a website, audit your keyword research, meaning that before you touch on a website, the words you're going to use on the website have to be researched through keywords. That way, when you put those words on the map, those keywords become links that can actually be accessible and connected back to your source file. So that's what you have to think about. I talked about two websites and I always make sure I keep my promise. The first website I talked about is siteliner.com. The second website, if you want to be on ChatGPT and see exactly how you're ranking or where you're ranking from, is called searchconsoleaudit.com. If you've never heard it before, you heard it first here on the We Don't Play podcast show. Search is a big deal. And if you don't do these things, why am I telling you these things for free? Because I know you're going to need help at some point, right? And just like you can
can
be
you
given
repeat
a
that?
diagnosis,
Search
it can help.
something.
Yes, it's called Search Console Audit, searchconsoleaudit.com. Searchconsoleaudit.com. One more time, searchconsoleaudit.com, and I've put it in the chat. Also, the site liner for those who want to grab this link, because I know these days links people grab links like it's candy, so I need to drop it on and give you guys a good link because I love to give, and I know that when you get something and it's valuable, you keep it because it's sentimental to your business. There you go. So those are three links. The first link is book a call with me. The second one is the Search Console Audit Siteliner. If you see anything, error messages, problems, codes, just know that you need to fix your website and there's a lot to do. And some of these websites like Search Console Audit, you might not even get a response because it may tell you that you don't have enough volume or bandwidth to even scan through the site because you need more content to actually get an audit. That's already a problem if you can't even be scraped through. So these are things I'm just telling you now. So when you end up in any of these hiccups, at least you know where you are and where you could be if you start from the point of discovery to conversion. So thank you for listening and really giving us this info and also helping us gain more insight because I love conversations like this. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, H. Thank you, Coach Rob, Johanna, Sharon, Bassem, Amin, Golden, Seren from Toronto. My brother lives in Toronto too. Emmanuel, Ergun, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I'm your host, Favor Basiike, all the way from Houston, Texas. And I'm glad to be here with you. If you have any questions about marketing, SEO, discovery, AI, anything that's going to help your business grow and turn the lights on, I'm here for you. And with that said, have a blessed Thursday. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. If you have a pink ticket, for those who I see getting a pink ticket, like Emmanuel, thanks for being here the whole time. I saw you jumped in the beginning, so thanks for being here. And also Lexi D, I see you as well. Please make sure you follow the house. We are 351.9K members in this house in the
Oh, oh,
marketing
that's
club.
not enough.
It's not enough. We need more. We need more people to come in and learn because we're 8 billion. So 350,000 over 8 billion. Yeah, do the math. It's definitely a different one. But yeah, I love it. You got to come in, you got to learn. This is where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. If you earn in bounds and in measures that you can understand because you have something within you that people can actually gain from and you can actually pour back into people because you have a source. So with that said, have a blessed day. You're welcome, Golden Love. You're welcome, Sharon. Just wanted to make sure. And you're welcome,
Thank you, thank you,
Emmanuel.
thank you. Like Elvis used to say.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care. God bless you all. And I'm going to see you guys very soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Later, bye.
Now, that was an episode, right? Thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I'm so glad that you're here and you are sticking tight with us, especially to the very end. Now, this is season 11 and we're going to do it differently. And I want to make sure that every episode you listen to has something to give back so that you can also learn more after you listen. Now, We Don't Play podcast show is where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. So if you're in any of those positions out of those four, please make sure that you reach out to me. Send out an email through info@playinc.online. That's info@playinc.online. Or you could go to playinc.online, which is a website, www.playinc.online, playinc.online, and schedule a call so that we can get you on an SEO discovery call to talk about your business and help you with your marketing needs. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this helped you. See you in the next episode. God bless you. Jesus loves you. Bye.